Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. In this lecture, we are going to learn about a big data business analytics. So let's get started. So big data analytics examines a large amounts of data to uncover hidden patterns, correlations, and other insights. With today's technology, it's possible to analyze your data and get answer from it immediately. Big data analytics helps you to understand your organization better. With the use of big data analytics, one can make informed decisions without blindly relying on guesses. So in previous days, suppose we have a large amount of data, so the analysis task is very difficult. Also, if you have a small amount of data, suppose you have a transaction histories of 50 transactions, so from that 50 transaction you can manually analyze the data and easily get the answer. But suppose just imagine that you have a large amounts of data, or your data in size of GBs. So manually examine those data is a very difficult task. So that is why the big data analytics is introduced. Big data, as the name suggests, it contains a large or numerous amounts of data into it, and we are analyzing those data, and that is why it is called the big data analytics. Now our term is big data business analytics. If we are using big data analytics for our business purpose to improve our business strategies, so that is called the big data business analytics. How we are using big data analytics in our business and get the answer of many questions. So that is why big data analytics is a very useful concept in business intelligence. So now let's understand how does big data analytics works. So numerous data are being generated every minute. We all know that we all are working on internet. So on the internet, we already learned click stream data mining. So at each and every click we are generating data, and it is gathered at each and every moment. So the numerous data is generated at each and every minute. So as we all know, social media sites and applications play the prime parts in generating data. We all are using a social media or any app in our day-to-day life. So from that, the numerous amounts of data is generated. So the massive amounts of data cannot be handled in traditional ways. So that this leads to a large volumes of data. So we cannot analyze that task with already defined technique that we have seen, or there are some limitations of that techniques. Or so those techniques are limited on large amounts of data. So that is why we are not using the traditional methods on that data. So for the solution, the new concept is introduced. It is called a Hadoop. So Hadoop is a solution to this problem. It is a framework that manages the distribution and processes of big data. Hadoop distributed file system is the storage units of Hadoop, where data is divided and stored distributedly among many storage units. Big data has to be processed, stored, and analyzed to put into effective use for businesses. So for that, we are introducing the Hadoop concept. Hadoop is very useful in such kind of situation. Here in the Hadoop, it is working on the operating system, and it has a different storage units, and it stores the data on a different storage units and maintain all the data simultaneously. So it is some kinds of distributed database management system, but it has some many advanced features in it. So it can handle those kinds of data very easily. It is a very fast. So because we have a large amounts of data, so if we are using our traditional method, then it takes us too long time. But with the Hadoop technology, it is too quick. So it is very useful for analysis task for big data. Now big data has some value points. So big data analytics helps organization harness their data and use it to identify new opportunities. That in turn leads to smarter business moves, more efficient operations, and higher profits and happier customers. So here are the most important values of big data. So as I said that big data has some value key points, and with that points any business organization leads to a higher profit, happier customers, of more efficient management, or faster replies. So that are some points. So let's understand each in detail. So the first is a cost reduction. This is the main point. Each and every organization is has to work on the cost reduction, because if a cost is increased, then the profit is decreased, and each and every organization is try to increase their profit and try to reduce their cost. So big data technologies such as Hadoop and cloud-based analytics bring a significant cost advantages when it comes to storing a large amounts of data. Plus they can identify a more efficient way of doing businesses. So if we are using a traditional database system, we need to buy a many database management system, because if we want to store gigabytes of data, then the configuration is too large. So for that the cost is also too high. So for any organization it is difficult. So for that Hadoop is a solution, or any cloud-based analytics is a solution. So with the less cost we can store a bunch of data on it. Second is the faster and better decision making. So as I said, the traditional method is too slow, but Hadoop or some other new techniques for big data is very fast in decision making. So the speed of Hadoop and in-memory analytics combined with ability to analyze new sources of data, business are able to analyze information immediately and make decision based on what they have learned. Suppose I ask some question to the system, but if it is a traditional system, suppose it needs suppose 15 minutes to answer, because we have a gigabytes of data stored on the database. So to analyze those data and answer to the question is a very difficult task. It is a time consuming. But with the help of Hadoop system, because it is distributed, it has some advanced features that we'll learn in chapter number 8. Because of it, it is a very fast and answer those questions very easily. Next is a new products and services. So the ability to gauge the customer's needs and satisfaction through analytics comes the power to give a customer what they want, or point out that with the big data analytics, more companies are creating new products to meet the customer's needs. As we are storing the data of customers or the transaction histories, we realize that some customers needs those types of product that is not available. Yes. So for that, by analyzing those data, and we comes to that point that this type of product needs to be created. So more products and more services is provided by the organization to the customer. So these are the 5 points that is very important for that are provided. So that is provided by the big data analytics. Now the next is role of data scientist. As I said that each and every organization is using a big data for their analysis task or for their decision making tasks, but for that one person is assigned to do that work, and that person is called the data scientist, who manage that whole thing, who apply that algorithm on the data, who are responsible for storing the data, for decision for extracting those data and applying the data to the applying those data or applying those knowledge to the products. So for that one person is that, and it is called the data scientist. So there are some roles of data scientist. So data scientist main objective is to organize and analyze large volumes of data, often using software specifically designed for the task, The final results of the data scientist analysis needs to be easy enough for all invested stockholders to understand, especially those working outside of IT. So first task is to analyze the data and store that volumes of data in a efficient or in an organized manner. So first task is to storing the data into the organized manner, and the result that we are getting from the system, we are getting from the algorithm, we need to present that information or knowledge such that person who are not technical or the outside of IT can easily understand. Second is data scientist's chief responsibility is data analysis, a process that begins with data collection and ends with business decision made on the basis of data scientist's final data analytics results. Based on the requirements, the analysis process is decided by the data scientist. The data scientist's approach to data analysis depends on their industry and the specific needs of business or department they are working for. So suppose for any company, I need to increase the sales of the product. So for that, the data analysis or the data scientist role is to gather the requirement, what the result we actually need, and based on that, select the data, apply the relevant technique or relevant analysis technique on that, and reaching to the final result and apply the result to get the output. So that is the main role of any data scientist. Some key roles for successful analytics projects. So there are some rules or the key roles to execute analytics project successfully, and each role has a specific task and play a crucial part in project. So the first is a business user. So business user is understand the domain area, and so the business user is someone who benefits from the end results and can consult and advise project team on a value of end results and how this will be operationalized. So the business user are those who has a knowledge of that domain area, or if a developer have some query about that domain, so he can easily ask to that user. So that is a business user. Second is a project sponsor. So it provides a requirement. The customer, or we can say that the client, is a project sponsors. So a person who is responsible for providing the inputs for the projects and core business problems generally provides the funding and will gauge the degree of value from the final outputs and working team. So this is the client, from that we are getting the project. So it is, and it provides funding. So project sponsor is the person from that we are getting funding of the project. So that is the project sponsor. Third is a project manager who ensures the meeting activity, or we can say the project managers is the person who defines the flow of working which is delivered to next. So all the activities of that project is decided by the project manager. So it ensure the key milestones and objectives are met on time and at the expected quality. And next is the database administrator. So database administrator whose work is to create the database environment for that project. Next is the data engineer who provides a technical skill, assists database management and extraction. So it has a deep technical skills to assist with tuning some types of SQL queries for data management, extractions, and support data to invest to analytics sandbox. So this is a data engineer who has skills of database. Next is a data scientist. So data scientist provides analytics techniques and modeling, who decides the analysis techniques, which technique needs to be applied. That is decided by the data scientist. We already know what is the role of data scientist. So it provides a subject matter expertise for analytical techniques. Data modeling: apply a valid analytical technique to given business problems and ensure the overall analytical objectives are met. So that is the role of that is the key role of successful analytic projects. So these are the 6 persons who is responsible for successful analytics of a project.